Everyone. Leland Live on your radio. April Marie here, filling in today and tomorrow as we head into Independence Day celebrations. AJ here, keeping me out of trouble. I was trying to send an emoji. This is one of those where I'm only 45 years old, but for if you work with me in 1819, you'd know this. Part of me seems and feels like I'm 105. I don't know why. When it comes to like Zoom calls and everything, I'm always the one who messes up and can't get myself off mute in time, and does weird things. So I was trying to send AJ a text message with the confetti explosion, and I was spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to figure it out. But what's funny is AJ and I had just gotten into the elevator as I was trying to figure it out. And he's like, we're talking about how old my phone is, and I'm over here trying to figure out how to send him a text with the confetti explosion. And we're sitting in the elevator, and it isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
We had somehow, there's a fob. So it's locked tight here. You cannot walk in here and steal me or AJ. Although if you're going to try, I encourage you to try to steal AJ because I could see that through the window, and that would be rather comical. That would be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Well, it would be comical for you, but not to the person that's trying to steal me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, me, you pick me up, and at this point, I don't know that I have a lot of fight left in me. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yes, it took a few tries before I could figure out how to get the confetti to work. But it used to be you just hit or at least the way I remember it back when I'm dreaming up sending confetti. It used to be you send congratulations and you got confetti. You
Yeah.
send happy birthday, you get balloons. I think the happy birthday still works. I may actually
Maybe so.
I may
Maybe so.
happy birthday
Yeah.
you during
I
the
know,
break.
like, you got, like, Happy New Year, obviously. That gives you the fireworks and all the other stuff. And then
Oh, does
there's
that one give you the fireworks still?
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm gonna be over here playing this. I still do.
You're just going to be randomly sending people, like, Happy New Year just to see it. Like, they're gonna be like, what is April Marie sending me Happy New Year? We're in July. Like,
We'll
what
see
are we
if
doing?
Andrew listens on the way home. I'm gonna just send him random
Yeah.
Happy New Year's text.
Well, they already think you're crazy, so they're just gonna make them even more like, oh yeah, this girl is nuttier than a squirrel turd. Like,
I don't know that anybody has that question though. If you
What?
listen to me for any prolonged period of time, you're like, all right, what is?
no, when I first meet you, they're like, oh, she's so sweet, she's so nice.
Are you saying I'm not that?
And then when they find me, like, oh gosh, like what in the world? I should not have given her my number. I'm just,
I'm making a face at you.
you should send that in a text to see what comes up.
Send what you just said.
No, what the face that you gave me, you should send that in a text and see what pops up.
That's even crazier. My kids every now and again will come across, Google will do like Easter eggs. I don't know if you know this, where if you search for a certain term or phrase, your things will come across your screen. So there was like a little monkey. I don't know if you remember that went viral.
No.
And if you typed in his name, little monkeys would come across your screen.
No.
So yeah, there's a whole. I guess again back to that. I'm a 45-year-old woman going on 105. I think these are funny. Like
Yeah.
I love to figure out the little Easter
You're like
eggs.
the old lady that just like discovers old technology. Like, hey, baby, come look at this. And your kids like, Grandma, like we've been knowing this for like 50 years.
Wait.
This ain't nothing new.
Yeah. I'm gonna Google it. What the name of the monkey is that makes monkeys come across your screen on Google, and we'll share that at some point. Any rate, April Marie here. You can find us on our podcast on the website after the show. You can, of course, watch the YouTube, the live, which is Real TV 99.5 TV, Real Talk 99.5 TV on YouTube, and phone lines are open. Today, we're going to talk still more about as the results of the Supreme Court decisions came in. I did not realize that one of the boys in that case is the same boy that said, pretty horrific things to the girls in his school. And so, just absolutely crazy town. This boy, and I was watching videos of one of the boys at the heart of the case. Now, by the way, SCOTUS got it right. They absolutely got it right. They nailed it. You can you can do whatever. If you are a boy who wants to wear a dress, go for it. Our schools should be safe places where you are, you're not bullied and harassed. Although, I feel like our administrators got to get a little better at that. Then kids wouldn't want to ship themselves off to this little school around the corner here. But if you're a boy, uh, you can not play in girls' sports. Easy, cut and dry. Well, this boy was not only playing in girls' sports, he was sexually harassing, according to reports, the girls he was playing with profane things. I saw multiple interviews with this boy's mother, and I don't know what it is. Leftist women, and especially these mothers who have gone all in on the LGBTQ. More often than not, it's a form of Munchausen by proxy. It really is. You look at these mothers, and they are attention seeking. Almost every time I see a boy going viral over sports, this is the case of the boy in California, the boy in West Virginia. You look up the boy who's trying to play on girls' sports, and inevitably, right behind him is a mother who needs to be institutionalized. She's calling him the wrong pronouns, and she's insisting he's a girl, and she's insisting there's nothing wrong. And you're going, every other person in the world with eyeballs and a brain realizes what you and your son are doing is wrong. Why don't you? And I'm telling you, it's not just the child that's mentally ill. It's these mothers who are pushing it. In Hollywood, you see it all the time. These leftist activists. There was one actress, and I'll have to look up who because I can't recall. One actress adopted 2 boys, and both of them ended up being girls. BS. That's some attention-seeking mother behavior right there, and we don't need to reward it by putting these boys in our girls' sports. We don't need to reward it by legitimizing it. I'd go so far as to say they had the right idea in Texas, where they said, we're going to start evaluating some of these cases for child abuse. Mothers out there going, oh, well, you don't even have to worry about him going and hitting puberty. We've already poisoned his young body. That's not going to happen. So we'll talk about that a little bit. President Trump taking a train headed to North Carolina to visit the Teddy Roosevelt Library celebration.
North Dakota.
What did I say?
North Carolina.
I'm looking at it, say North Dakota. There you go. North Dakota for the Teddy Roosevelt Library ceremony. It's right in front of me. I just read it wrong. So we'll talk a little bit about that in the 250 events that are happening. Starting to see some hate in my timeline as Taylor Swift's wedding puts New York City in somewhat of a lockdown situation. How selfish do you have to be? I'm going to be honest. I don't know that I care. I don't know that there was a time and place where Taylor Swift could get married that it wasn't going to receive criticism. I don't know that that anybody needs to worry about these 1,000 celebrities at her wedding not properly celebrating 4th of July. Most of the leftist celebrities are the ones out there bad-mouthing our nation, out there saying they're ashamed of us, out there with, every award ceremony, trash-talking ICE and trash-talking the president and pumping up this LGBTQ madness. I don't mind at all. I don't know why people have to take things so personally. Yes, it's a spectacle. Yes, the New York police have to provide security, da-da-da-da-da. It's okay. You're going to live. So we'll talk about these things, some of the top headlines around the state and nation. Last night, Senator Katie Britt threw a party to celebrate the 250. I've been watching photos of that all day. Looked like a good time was had by all. This afternoon, in addition to the the 4th on the 1st, the Hoover event, where they're also having the soccer watch party, ALGOP is having an event. That's the Republican Party over at the Republican Party headquarters. They're having a crawfish boil. I actually talked to State Representative Ernie Yarbrough earlier today. He was headed there and about to cook up some of that goodness. So we may talk to him depending on how the cooking and party situation is going there at ALGOP, but stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we're going to take our first quick break here in just a minute. You can find me again on X, APRYL, MARIE. Yes, I'm on Facebook. No, I'm not good at it. If you send me messages there, they go into little black holes, for which I apologize. I'm much better about X, so catch me there. The text line and the phone line, 545-9950. Back in just a minute. Well, good afternoon, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. AJ, trying to keep me out of trouble. Some days are easier than others. I mentioned yesterday that there had been complaints about the Alabama booth at the America 250 event in Washington, D.C. Well, the Alabama Department of Tourism is hitting back. Apparently, they really do believe people want to stand there, grab a bag of peanuts, and get a picture with a cutout Kay Ivey. I got kudos for them for whatever Kool-Aid they've been drinking. But the Department of Tourism is defending our pitiful little booth there, saying we have nothing but glowing reviews of our booth. It's been one of the busiest. So if you missed it yesterday, we had a story on 1819 News, and it was a state representative saying he had gotten complaints about the booth and saying other booths had lively kind of interactive things for people to do. There were dancing lessons. There were all sorts of giveaways. There were just fun things at different state booths. The Alabama booth is a series of blown-up images, some tiny bags of peanuts, and Sweet Home Alabama and a couple other songs playing on repeat. But the catch, the biggie, is people can get their picture with a life-size cutout of Governor Kay Ivey. I'm wondering how many people would take time out of their day to get a picture with Kay Ivey if they could. I mean, I say that, I'm pretty sure I've gotten one, possibly two. I'm going to say probably one in the 13 years I've been here, and I've been at plenty of events with Kay Ivey. I don't know anybody who's like, I flew from all the way from Alabama to Washington, D.C. to celebrate the nation's independence. And what do I want? Can't I wait to get a picture with a cardboard cutout of Kay Ivey? Not so much. They're saying, this is a statement they released this afternoon. At Sweet Home Alabama, we did not and do not look at this event like we're in competition with other states, but merely we're showcasing what our state has to offer during the 250th year of America. Well, that's where you went wrong, folks. Everything's a competition. If we've got every state represented out there, which we darn near do, if you got every state out there represented, you are trying to draw people to Alabama. I still say one of the best things to happen in Alabama was the soccer match at Auburn here recently. Of course, University of Alabama had the Morgan Wallen concert, which was pretty darn good. But watching people from across the world come here for the soccer game. I'm pointing, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, I talk with my hands. Sorry about that. But with the soccer game at Auburn, we did have people from all over the world come here. People from around the country come here for the soccer game and for the World Cup game. And, we do have a lot to showcase. I just don't know that that's doing that, okay? They're saying that, in their defense, they're saying, the Alabama Tourism Department launched the Year of Alabama Trails for our annual Year of campaign. It's acknowledged the booth has the South's finest trail mix. Really? Really? People want to go to the capital of our nation to celebrate the 250th anniversary, and they are getting Alabama trail mix and a picture of a Governor Kay Ivey cutout. I don't know that that's the best we could have done. I mean, I know it's shocking, but we've got a lot of really cool things that we can do in the state of Alabama. I don't know that that's it. All right. So that was their update. They said they're proud of the exhibit and are excited to show off our Alabama, like I said, trail mix. You kind of can't make it up. All right. Let's see what Clarissa says. She's on the line. Hey there.
Hey, friend, how you doing?
I'm good. Are you? Were you excited to hear that we have a cardboard cutout of Kay Ivey and some peanuts at our fair booth?
You know what? I got to say, I'm a little bit of a cheesy kind of girl. So I work in the travel industry, and so I wasn't mad. My daughter is interning in D.C. for the summer, and so she met up with us there. And she is 22, so she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get my picture with you all."
Oh, she
And she
did.
was like, "Please text us." So the cheese and us, like we were all about it.
You were excited about it. Where is she interning? Is she interning on the Hill?
She is actually with the Justice Department.
Okay, so she's kind of a political. It's So, she's
Yes.
somewhat tuned into
She is
political.
full scale government employee. But even though she's going to be in DC for 10 weeks, she's all Alabama, right?
That's so
And
cute.
so she was very proud.
Uh,
Now I will tell you, as we've talked about before, she was homeschooled her whole life, and so she was excited to view it as an exhibit because it wasn't really a state fair. It was more of an exhibit. The only like ride they had,
it's the
of
giant
course,
Ferris
was the
wheel.
Ferris wheel. Yeah, we didn't see it in cotton candy. We were on the lookout for it. We didn't catch. But what she did appreciate was the passport where you could go around from state to state and get that stamped. I would say we were underwhelmed by the event, but I have a public relations degree, so I would have done it a little differently. But we wanted to say, semi-quincentennial, it happens once. We were there. We
So
want to always do what we can to support our great.
I love it. And I love that your daughter's getting to intern there. I feel like, yeah, if you are a Hill intern or you're somewhat tied into government, maybe that the Ivy thing, but for just a regular, kid whose parents are taking them up there for the Smithsonian museums, maybe the National Zoo, and then, throwing this in there or timing it with that, I don't know how thrilled they'd be about a picture with Mima.
Well, and you make a good point. She, being the age she is and having grown up in our state, she knows sort of the jokes about, Governor Ivy being called Meemaw and Grandma and things like that. So it was more of, hey, let's take this in stride. I got my Alabama photo. It would have been the same if it had been Big Al or something like that. But we were, from a public relations point, I will say, and like I say, I hate to say anything negative, but I would have made the event overall. I would have made it smaller. I would have insisted that the booths be larger. I would have insisted that the booths be more interactive because, unfortunately, there are some people that are coming to D.C. just for that event. We were actually on an 8-day tour of Boston, Philly, New York. We
Nice.
did the footsteps of the American Revolution. So, we did everything from Concord Bridge, and Lexington Green to, Wall Street where George Washington was inaugurated, to ate at the tavern where he said goodbye to his generals after the war. We finished at Mount Vernon. It's like I said, we did a full 8 days. So we
Oh, love it.
stopped by because we were there. But like for somebody that was just going just to see that, manage your expectations because the event was too large of a space. And I mention that because in context, from perception is everything. So no matter how busy or crowded it is, it's never going to look full because there's
There's
many
so much
stages
space. I'm
and
looking at an
so
overhead
much
view of it right
space.
now.
It's
Yeah.
enormous. I would
Hey,
have made
look,
it
if you
smaller.
put
I
Nick
would have made the booth
Saban
bigger.
in a cutout of Ella Langley there, people would be all about it. There are
They would have lost
people
their mind.
there
Right.
are people from Alabama or people with, ties to Alabama, Condoleezza Rice. There are a number of people you could have put a cardboard cutout and people would have been thrilled to go get it. Get a
Right.
picture with them. I'm not buying what they're selling that this is the best we had.
Well, I was glad, and I'll say this before I let you go. I was because I work in the travel industry. I was glad that they had the QR codes that you could take with you at the Alabama booth that connected you to the Alabama tourism website. The other group that we were with was from Minnesota, and I talked up American Village the whole week and the civil rights trail and the space industry and all the medicine, all that we have here in Alabama, our beaches, our geography, our topography, and they have actually decided to take a week-long trip
That's
because it's so
awesome.
cold up in Minnesota to Alabama because I talked it up so much and I didn't realize, that I was bragging about Alabama. But they did have booths. It was like Department of Agriculture, Department of War, the State Department, and things like that. So it wasn't just the booths for the states. It had some, government. The FBI was
Yep.
represented, different things like that. But like I said, I wouldn't plan a trip to D.C. to do it. But if you're there, go check it out.
It's
because
something
you
to
can get
do.
the
Yep.
passport and say that you were there.
I'm
But thank
hearing
you
the
for
ads
taking
for
my
it.
call.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Clarissa. All right, when we come back, we'll go over some of the list of things to do because 4th of July, Independence Day this year, a week-long celebration. We'll get into some of the things you can do just this evening if you're interested. Back in just a minute. You're listening to April Marie for Leland Live. Well, good afternoon. Leland has posted a video of his trip to date. I don't know if you've seen that, AJ.
Yeah, I've been posting it on
Uh,
our social media,
there you-
TikTok, and all that stuff.
You can find it on the Talk 99.5 page. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, the Facebook. I'm trying to get on the Instagram, but for some reason, Instagram on my on this desktop here, it just keeps making me prove that I'm not a robot. So I've been having to click that cash, that thing.
Yeah, the little CAPTCHA thing.
Yeah, like, man.
It's really tough when you got to convince the robots you're not a robot.
Right.
Like, for the love.
And I've been doing it for like the past 20 minutes.
And it's still not
It's like, bro, like I'm not a robot.
You are a robot.
I'm not.
Is that a bison crossing the
Yes.
street in this video? You guys go check it out. AJ has posted it to the Talk 99.5. You've been successful at outsmarting the bots over at Facebook. Do we have a Twitter? We have an X account, don't we? There's an
Yes,
X
we do.
account.
It's Talk 995 on X, and you can see the video on there
You
as
can
well
see
too.
the video there. It's beautiful. I said this before. I am thinking about planning a road trip for the kids. We're definitely going to Arizona. We've got a trip to Arizona booked. But if we are going to drive out there and drive back, or just drive one way, I'm not sure. But I'm going to check in with Jessica, because this just looks like way too much fun. I tell you what. So Leland Live on the road, coming to you next week. Don't pet the buffalo. James Smith with some solid advice there. No trying to hand feed these things. All right. April Marie here. I was going to go over it. Some of our 4th of July Independence Day events, including tonight, 4th on the 1st in Hoover. They're going to be watching the U.S. soccer game, as well as there is a hot dog eating contest with the city councilors, including the 2 city councilwomen. They have great videos, kind of psych up videos that they have put online. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. And then they've got all sorts of things over there. Let's see what else we've got going on. There's events all around town. I saw Homewood got a ginormous flag up, so that's exciting. And the Birmingham Barons have events basically every night, where they're going to do a small fireworks show after the Friday and the Saturday events at Regents Field, so you can go check that out. But I really want to encourage you to take a minute and go out there and just celebrate with your communities. This is a good time to do so. If you're going to do fireworks, be safe with them. As I was driving in, I was listening to news accounts of different Independence Day and New Year's mishaps with fireworks. So you want to be very careful with those. There's also events going on at Oak Mountain State Park. There's a fireworks show. There is a couple of the World Cup watch parties going on, so you'll want to check that out. Trussville's got a 4th of July World Cup watch party, 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So just a lot going on as we celebrate the 250th anniversary. As I mentioned, some people pretty upset Taylor Swift is having her wedding this weekend. I guess it doesn't cause me as much heartburn as it says. I don't find it disrespectful to our nation's founders that Taylor Swift is getting married this weekend.
Well, at least Kelsey won't forget what day their anniversary is.
That's true. I'm telling you though, this is the absolute, and I guess that goes to show how many moms I'm following and how many conservative moms at that. The number of moms I'm seeing kind of panicked about this. Oh, everything's Taylor Swift. Well, you're doing something wrong in your household. If rather than celebrating the birth of our nation and how great a country we are, you are A, complaining about Taylor Swift, or B, centering the weekend and week about it. Things have gone awry, and I don't know that Taylor Swift is to blame. So let me just put that out there. President Donald Trump, as I mentioned, speaking at the Teddy Roosevelt Library dedication, he cut the ribbon for that just a couple of minutes ago. He's now talking. Are you seeing, Leland, the image of him talking there? Because I kind of feel like you need one of those outfits. Of the men behind him with the cowboy hats.
You think Leland needs to have one of those outfits?
No, I think you need to have one of those.
Oh, you said Leland. I was like, oh.
No, I think you need to have one of those.
I do?
outfits. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
don't know.
fantastic.
I don't
All,
know.
all of
I mean,
the
I may rock the hat. You know, I don't know about like the suspenders and the handkerchief around the neck.
the handkerchief around the neck makes it. Actually, I'm gonna need you, JD, and Will to rock that on a live podcast at some point because that's just extra special.
Mm,
Mm, he's not buying what I'm saying.
no.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out, and I'll keep posting about these events that we've got going on around the community to celebrate the 250th anniversary. Have you? Ask you this, AJ. Have you driven an EV, an electric vehicle?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, I got word there is an event next week, or I guess it's July 11th, Saturday, July 11th, at Brock's Gap in Hoover, where it's free test drives of EV vehicles. And so people can just show up there, and they're going to have EVs. The Chevrolet, Cadillac, Hyundai are confirmed. All sorts of models of these different vehicles are going to be on hand. The EV test drives will take place in the Hoover Met Complex parking lot. They're going to have a big course set up. They're also going to have a family-friendly event at Brock's Gap Brewing following the test drives. So kind of fun if you haven't tested one of those and are interested. That is, let's see, I'm looking at the flyer now. 3 to 7 free EV test, 4 to 8 family-friendly activities, full showcase of the vehicles, 4 to 8. And then a Deputy 5 concert, 7 to 9. So lots of things going on around here in Central Alabama. Feel free to call me up if you've got an event happening in the next week or so. We'll see what we can do to tell people about it. That number again is 545-9950. I'm looking here at Pete Buttigieg. Do you remember a couple of days ago when word first got released and he first went public with his claims that he was separated from his twins based on a false report to basically Child Protective Services? He's saying that the social worker or the said he could not be with his kids. Now there are all sorts of professionals in the field going, whoa, 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 something's not adding up. The claim was made that he bragged to someone about abuse at a Alabama conference, and there was this weird Alabama tie to it, and then that person told somebody who then called in a complaint. This story really getting weirder and weirder by the day. They're saying that he's saying that he was separated by his kids. I have very strong opinions, about Child Protective Services and fixing that system. That system is so wholly broken. I don't know if you guys recall the child who was left in a vehicle and passed away, who was under the state care. Our system is broken. This is another one of those situations where I tell people all the time that that it's something we just don't hear conservatives talk about a lot. And we need to talk more about it because we are the community of pro-life. We are the life community, the strong families community. And we need to do everything we can to make sure this fundamentally flawed and broken system, which does not get enough resources and does have a lot of, has had over years, not necessarily the best players in it. We need to make sure that we do everything we can to fix that. I feel like, even this past year, Kenneth Pascal, state representative from Central Alabama, had a bill about a Bill of Rights, just not even giving rights to families in Alabama who get caught up in that system, but letting families know their rights if they have somebody come knock on their door or they're facing questions themselves, just knowing how to best be there for their family. I'm seeing more and more people saying that that these claims seem to be somewhat ridiculous, if not unbelievable, that he was separated, and that there is either more to the story or that he's exaggerating it to keep his names in the headlines. Let me tell you, I don't think very highly of the man to start with, but if he is using his kids and using this story to gain sympathy to get his names back out for a future Democratic run, that would have to be one of the most disgusting instances of exploiting kids and exploiting this, as I said, somewhat failed system in most states. And so I'm going to keep up with this one because for the love, what he is claiming is that his kids had to go stay with their grandparents for 24 hours while the investigation was ongoing. Um, Experts saying that's not exactly how that would work. There would have to be a sign or symbol of imminent danger before they would have been taken away. At first, it was reported as if this was like a swatting situation. And we have seen so much of conservatives swatted on the right. This would just be a new kind of facet to that, which it is just a crying shame that we are where we are in our nation. And we don't have to look far to know exactly how we got here, by the way. The polarizing us versus them hatred, vitriol, so much of it inspired by a media who lies about elected officials and lies about people on the right. I wouldn't wish this on my enemy, but as the days progress and he gives more interviews, the questions, rather than getting answers, are just getting more cloudy. So I'll keep an eye on that. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll continue to jump in on Alabama and national headlines. You're listening to Leland Live. Well, good afternoon, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. AJ attempting to keep me out of trouble. Over here, texting with friends. We've got various people coming on with us in these final 2 days. State Representative Ernie Yarbrough, I mentioned him earlier, as he is in town for the Algop crawfish event. It's the 250 event, and he is going to drop on by the studio with us somewhere around 4 o'clock. So we'll talk to him a little bit. One of the things I foresaw happening yesterday, there's been a lot of talk since the SCOTUS decision came down on birthright citizenship. Now, I feel like I spent most of my day yesterday celebrating the absolutely common sense protections that the Supreme Court said for women's spaces and women's sports. But there was the birthright citizenship case that is also had a lot of people raising questions about kind of what are next steps there. Do we go in and revise the Constitution? Do we need a congressional fix? What else can Trump do now? I said, well, one of the things we do is we just say you can't, women who are pregnant, you just get stopped. You can't come here, especially for this birth tourism. I had no idea until I looked it up yesterday, the hundreds of thousands of people that were coming into our nation and having babies here. And it wasn't just people coming across the southern border. It's, of course, as Trump talks about a lot, the Chinese industry bringing people over. President Trump they're now working on, as I said, a new plan blocking pregnant foreign women from entering the United States. The Supreme Court, of course, ruled that an executive order from Trump that sought to deny citizenship to those who are non-citizens, the Supreme Court ruled that was unconstitutional. So now there are different things in the works, barring people from certain places who are pregnant from coming over, and then potentially even just saying, we're not going to let you come over here and have a baby. And so, let's see, Trump advisor Stephen Miller told Jesse Waters on Tuesday that America must, quote, think very carefully about who you let into your company, even on a temporary basis, because children born of non-citizens can become U.S. citizens under this ruling and access our entire social safety network. And that has been happening. We know that the different benefits allowed for children, it's not specific. Just like our schools, you come across our borders and you get a child to school, the school's going to take them, and that's having a pretty big effect. Has had a pretty big effect throughout classrooms and schools across the nation. You've got to have teachers who are helping get these kids caught up to speed. Many of the kids, this is when they're older kids who are coming across the border, don't speak English as their first language. So they're automatically draining resources that schools may not have. Then you've got the challenge, and it was something I hadn't even thought about until legislation was brought around the impacts on sports, even within here in Alabama. If you've got a personal story of the impacts of immigration, specifically illegal immigration, I feel like too often the left and the media will have us act as though that's the same. It's not. It's 100% not, and we shouldn't treat it as if it is. So as Trump is looking at, in his administration, is looking at, okay, the Supreme Court ruled, it put some of the decision, built up walls around what can and cannot be done. And so the Justice Department is prioritizing investigations of birth tourism schemes. And so they're going to do what they can to track down those who are bringing them into the country for this birth tourism. These are companies that are getting temporary visas for people to come to the United States, but then also setting up all of the infrastructure they need, a house to stay at, hospitals, doctors' information for them to come here and have these children so that their children will have the U.S. citizenship. And so the Justice Department says, okay, well, we've been looking into it. We're going to crack down on that. there are criminal laws in place that already prohibit this conduct. And so they're going to go after, they actually posted a new memo talking about what they're going to do in terms of this investigation. The memo, which the Department of Justice put on their X account, talks about the criminal laws, talk about some recent examples. In 2024, a husband and wife were each sentenced to 41 months imprisonment for operating a birth tourism scheme with a business aptly named USA Happy Baby Inc. Now, AJ, if you're going to have a business that is inherently doing all sorts of illegal stuff, maybe you don't make the name so obvious, but that was the name of their company. They charged Chinese clients tens of thousands of dollars to help them give birth in the United States, provided customs entry guidance, housing, transportation, every kind of a one package deal. And they coached their clients on how to hide their pregnancies from immigration authorities. In 2022, there was another individual sentenced to 27 months in prison for conspiring to commit healthcare and wire fraud in connection with birth tourism in New York, a New York company. The person and their co-conspirators advertised birth tourism in 2 Turkish language social media pages. As a part of this scheme, they would tell the women to conceal their pregnancies as they went through immigration. They also got a restitution of over $1 million. So it's a very lucrative business, apparently. We got to do what we can here. Because those who are trying to get into our country one way or the other, whether it's individuals, malicious attempt, who are coming over here, bringing someone who is pregnant with them and intending to use these children to stay here, whether it's this birth tourism, whatever, it's a way to exploit all of the resources we provide, because we as a nation, this goes back to our big hearts. Right? We don't want to see any child within our borders go without. And people have taken advantage of this for far too long. I was watching yesterday as some of the other the newscasters were talking about this. The decision by itself is also really mind-boggling as for the intent, which was it was intended for the children of slaves. This is the kind of thing where we need Congress to come in and we need Congress to take action. We need them to clarify the laws. We need them to pass more laws with higher prosecution rates for those who are coming in. I think when we talk about human trafficking, there's this thought, and especially in my mind, coming from Trump's first term here, people coming across the border. Remember when the left acted like they didn't know what Trump meant when he was talking about mules? We've got people who come across the border, and your general cartels, who are drug running, human trafficking, gun smuggling, all the things. We can look at those, and then we can look at the impacts that they have when they have the ability to traffic in pregnant women, and the schemes and the plots and the ploys that they have to bring these women across the border. And then what happens afterwards? These people behind this, come in off the grid, off the radar, beholden to these cartels, beholden to other human traffickers. And it's just a terrible situation for everyone. So for the left to cry, no, this is humanitarian. It is humanitarian, because it's not a very humane thing to let this continue the way that it has. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get into some more of today's top headlines. You're listening to April Marie, filling in for Leland Live.